Welcome into another episode of the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. We're still rolling with the title Junior Hockey Pod, and I don't think we're going to change it. It's too late now, so we're going to stick with it.
You refused. You refused to go with what I wanted to go with.
What even was that?
It was your old catchphrase, which you don't use anymore.
My old
love to see it.
Oh, love to see it. Yeah. Well, now it's shout out, so we've evolved. I feel like
welcome to shout out.
Welcome to shout out. Love to see it. Sydney Wolf, Peter Rodney, Drew Steele back again for another episode in the new year. You do love to see it. Another episode. I've heard from other people that they're finding this show funny, which is good because sometimes I feel like maybe we just think it's funny. So I'm glad other people think it's funny as well. And also informative. We do have a little bit of information as well from time to time. So that's good. Glad to hear it. I don't think we've had a ton of time pass since our last episode, only about a week. Drew, how are the Caps doing? I got to talk to the Madison's own Max Ryder today as well, so that was fun. Shout out Madison.
Yeah, Caps 2 wins last weekend, so moving in the right direction. 3-1 in 2026. We have 6 games in the next 2 weeks, so hopefully we're keep moving in that direction. Ryder with an OT game winner on Saturday.
I saw that.
Goalie of the week. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point in the pod as well. Yeah, things are rolling here. Fun fact, I won't describe where my location will be next week. My location will not be in Waunakee, Wisconsin next week for the podcast. So we're really excited to debut the location next week. If that's a teaser right away for next week on the pod. So if you're listening this week, count yourself in for next week too.
Wow. Wild.
Damn.
Well, that's a little teaser. We'll just have to wait and see. Peter, how about you? How has the last week or so been? Crazy.
The last week has been good. Got back into the swing of things this week. My wife had her surgery, so she's feeling good. So I was actually able to do a couple of pods. Tony and I did 2 pods this morning, and then Kayla and I hauled off to Long Lake, Minnesota, which is adorable, by the way. What a town. Right on Long Lake. I was thinking to myself while I was driving through, I was like, this is half the charm of Grand Marais with triple the money. Because there are some really nice houses in Long Lake. But we hammered out some interviews and some promotional stuff for Friday Night Ice, which is happening in less than 48 hours. So hopefully Matt Jasper can slam it all together and we can get that rolling. But we met up with the Orono players today, and it was nice to do my first couple of pods in a month, actually in studio.
Nice. Yeah,
I was going to say, we've been doing pods, Peter.
Yeah.
No, the 3 of us have. And quite honestly, I'm getting way too used to doing them at my house where there's no drive time. But it was nice to get back in studio, hanging out with my boy, Tony Scott. People think that we hate each other, but we're actually besties.
I like the road trip vids on the Twitter. Those were pretty good.
That was a real throwback. Tony and I used to drive so many places together. We used to drive to Chicago together. We flew to Detroit together once. We've gone to Edmonton together. We've done a lot of traveling, but the car videos were pretty sick. He didn't have to do them, which was nice.
Yeah, those are fun.
Like, he didn't have to man the camera. We'll do another car video soon.
Okay, cool.
That's the type of content we want to see.
It is. Well, we've had not a ton of USHL news, but a little bit. We talked about this on the college show this week as well. As there's been a lot more movement, I feel like, of players kind of coming and going between college and juniors. So we got some of that to talk about, as well as some tenders. We also had the NHL Central Scouting Midterm report, which I totally forgot was coming out this week. So I think I was driving to do the college pod the other day when that came out. And I just totally forgot that was even a thing. And I got home from driving back from Bloomington, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's just 10,000 things going on today. So it was just so much stuff happening that I totally forgot is a mid-January thing. But to start out, we talked last week that there was a tender. We have another tender This one, Dominic Bednar, tendered by Sioux City. Not a player any of our listeners are probably super familiar with because he's from Seacoast Performance Academy. So not a Minnesotan, but if you look up his stats, they're pretty wild. It's 100 points in 35 games. So I don't think that seems too shabby, but I don't know if any of you guys know anything about him. But I, wasn't super familiar, but always big news when these teams get tenders for the next year for sure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this kid. No, tenders in the USHL this year are 2010s.
That's wild. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
How crazy is that? Yeah, so for those listeners out there that might not know, because there's definitely a thing. Like in the NAHL, you can tender basically at any age. Basically just secures and all team your rights for the next season. In the USHL, it's going into your 16-year-old birth year. So that's the 2010s. So like the Caps have a couple for this year, maybe a couple brewing for next year. You never know, right? Like I wish I knew. It's that part of recruiting, and they get to pick where they go, which is kind of cool. You don't get to see a lot of that once you get to its top end of junior, right? You look at each of the major junior leagues in Canada has a draft. The USHL has a draft, but you do get that chance to tender. So Sioux City forfeits their first round pick in the phase 1 draft to make sure they get this guy. So I would take a wild guess and say that the crew out there knows what they're doing, and this Bednar kid's going to tear it up.
I've never seen any other birth year at Seacoast outside of the 08s. That's why I was curious if Dominic was an 08. Seacoast Performance Academy is based in New Hampshire. It's kind of an interesting place. Like they tend to specialize, at least from looking at their nationals roster from 2 years ago. They tend to specialize in European players. Like I think they had a couple of Latvians on their roster, so I don't know if there's an admissions counselor at Seacoast Performance Academy that is scouring Eastern Europe for the best and the brightest, but they just had a couple of kids where I was like, I don't know who this player is. They're really good, and at some point, I'm just around the game enough where I know most of the best kids at a certain age group, and I didn't recognize virtually any names on their roster. So they appear to have a pipeline to Europe, which is pretty cool.
Bednar's Slovakian too, so there you go. There's your pipeline to Europe.
There you go. Somebody play the Slovakian goal song. Somebody play the Slovakian goal song.
Let's see if I can find it.
It's like talk rock chalk or some shit.
I have to find the hub. I don't know where the hub is for the World Juniors anymore.
Yeah, they've got a couple. It looks like between the 15U and 16U team, couple Slovakians, couple guys that maybe are Russian.
Welcome to Sioux City.
Wow.
God, we're useless.
Wild. Well,
sorry, Drew and I are useless. Sydney's not useless.
Wow, Drew's looking attacked. Drew feels attacked.
Drew, if there are two pieces of this tricycle that have the ability to fall off at any point and render it almost useless, it's you and me.
Oh, so Sid.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Audio only listener, you should watch video for that part. Don't know how else to describe it.
I mean, we
what a
we
power
can
outage at my house.
Yeah, we can kick Peter to the curb if we need to.
Am I muted too?
No, we can hear you. Can I mute you? That'd be sweet.
I
can. Now you're muted. Start talking right now, Peter. Let's hear you.
We were just ignoring you. Wow, we're already
now you're unmuted.
And on
welcome. All right, we got through one piece of news, everyone. What a pod.
We got through one tender. And Drew, like you mentioned, null tenders. And if anyone is interested in null tenders and wants to get really into the weeds, I might as well just read our APX sponsor now. Shout out APX Hockey. Thanks for sponsoring the pod. Because if you go to apx-hockey.com, I did I don't know if it's 3rd or 4th annual null tender analysis. I looked up every single null tender that was signed last year. I found them. And I found out, are they still playing with that team this year? So, takes a lot of time. I look at like 400 elite prospects pages, and it's pretty interesting if you're into weird, dumb stats. So go.
How many viruses did your computer get from that? I feel like anytime I open elite prospects, my computer slows down.
Yeah,
one extra tick.
Did anybody else's recording time stop?
No, yours is fine. It's still rolling.
It says 5:40. Okay, it's still going for you guys, all right?
Yeah, mine says 10, 11 minutes right now. Yeah. I think it's probably just because I gave you the boot and popped you back in.
Well, I'm trying to get your camera back on too. I can't even see you. What is
going on? You can't see me.
No, all I can see is Sid right now.
Okay, well, it's all good.
All right, well, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay, well, sweet. We'll keep it going. But thanks to APX for sponsoring the show. We'll talk about the USHL a little later. But speaking of other USHL related tidbits of news, we kind of had a funny trade in a way, like not necessarily one that was planned out. And it's not really like a trade like officially per se, but we already talked about Tynan Lawrence left Muskegon for BU. We already mentioned that. And now BU's Carter, we weren't sure if it was Amico or Amico, leaves BU for Muskegon. So in a way, it kind of seems like okay, this player left, we're gonna get this player back. And obviously they're not even like the same position or anything, so not like the same thing at all. But kind of funny that like one leaves for BU, one left BU, and they both involve Muskegon. And Amico is a former NTDP guy. He's a really big defender. He's a draft pick. And now he's going to be headed back to the USHL, which is definitely an interesting move, and one that I wasn't paying attention to the transactions list, but I know, Drew, you were like, oh, I saw that, and I didn't know it was actually a thing that was happening.
Yeah, no, it happened the same day as the Tynan Lawrence move. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. My names are popping on and off the screen right now, but we'll power through. Now it's in and out. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, Carter, Amico, Amico, however you pronounce it. Not a trade you usually see, but I mean, it's something that probably is going to happen more that you don't think about. Maybe BU's like, hey, we want to bring in Tynan Lawrence, but we want to throw you a bone at the same time. I would add this kid and start talking to his agent. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know for sure on that one, but pretty interesting there for sure. Look at the technology we have. I wonder if I stop talking, if I just go off screen now. Nope, I'm still there. We're leaving this all in too. This is all part of it. Sid, were we popping off the screen there, me and Peter, for a bit?
For like 1 second, but I mean, I can hear you guys, so you're all good. I think we just gotta power through.
So my screens aren't the only ones that are black right now.
Oh, you might be the only one that's black. My screen's not black.
Mine's good. Mine's normal.
I can't see either of you guys.
mine's normal. Mine's normal.
Here, maybe
What
I'll
is
trade.
happening?
There's just Sid. I'm just flipping around.
Oh,
there we go.
Am I supposed to be the big one?
I don't know. We're just mixing things up. We're checking it all out.
What is happening?
Okay, cool.
The YouTube viewers are getting one heck of a show today is what's happening.
My computer sounds like it's about to fall apart on me.
Well, we're just going to power through.
How thick is that bad boy? You got like the old school like elementary school Macs that they would have?
No, it's a 2020 Mac Air.
Okay. All right. I like that. I'm a 2021. Might be 22. Mac
okay,
Air,
now everybody's back. Now everybody's back. I did lose my light on the other side, so that's why I look even worse. Okay, sorry, gang. We're on bullet point number 2.
Carter Amico, some other stats about him. Like we said, he's a big defender. He's 6'5", 225, so obviously a big dude. And we've already talked about it on this show. Sometimes those bigger guys just need like a little bit more time, I think, to develop. Doesn't mean they're like bad. Like some people are way too quick to be like, that guy's a bust. I mean, we've seen it a lot with Dean Letourneau. Year one, people were like, oh, he's bad now. And then now
Charlie Stramel.
Yeah, Charlie Stramel. Like there's so many examples. Just give him a little time. Amico's literally 18, so let's give him some time. He went right from the NTDP to BU, played in 18 games but didn't get any points. And I believe he was injured last year or something like that. So I know that was kind of a hindrance as well. But I think it'll be good. Hopefully go to Muskegon, pick up some good minutes there and some confidence too. Because I think that's a big thing too, is just getting your confidence back and all that jazz. So I don't know if he's still going to be a BU guy in the future or not. I'm not really sure on that situation.
The Lumberjack posted a tweet that at least makes it seem like he's still committed to go back to BU. Obviously, things can change though, right? Like it's not like he's gonna be a free agent in a way, but he's looks like he's still gonna be committed. Steve Lowe, their president of hockey ops, was like, "Yeah, we're pumped to work with the Flyers, who he's drafted by, and BU to get him back to Boston." Was kind of the message on the quote. So. At least expected to go back to BU, but all it takes is BU to have a chance to get 3 like unreal defensemen and be like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we don't have room for you," and then him to be like, "Oh well, I'm going to go to this other school that would want me." So, you guys know the world of college hockey just as much as anybody right now, and just college sports in general. All it takes is one little thing, and this guy's playing for 4 different schools in 4 years.
Yeah, so maybe it's good if they were all kind of in agreement, like, yeah, it might be good for you to go somewhere where you're actually going to get like some really good minutes instead of like, you know, BU, if you end up getting buried a little bit on the line chart, go back somewhere you can get some more ice time and just keep developing because, yeah, I think that's a thing that some guys just need to do that. So no shame in that, and hopefully he picks up some good time in Muskegon and some points, and we'll head back to BU and be a good player there in the future. Speaking of Tynan Lawrence being gone, because he's gone and he was a captain for the Lumberjacks, Carter Sanderson has been named captain of the team. And I know he's not a Minnesotan, but it's always cool to see people from, you know, not really traditional hockey states doing well, because South Dakota. So that's always kind of cool to see. I always like to shout that out. Or as we already said, love to see it. Thought I'd throw that in there. Speaking of as well, like college to USHL and vice versa, Alex Callbeck, who is playing for the Chicago Steel, has left for Western Michigan. I know they've had like some injuries on their blue line though, kind of early on. So I'm not super surprised by this because I know they've had a few guys who were injured pretty early. So maybe they just need some extra backup on the blue line. He's a defender, had 11 points this year. He's from Illinois. So that's kind of a call up there to go to college early. So I think that's just some insurance for the Broncos, but we always like to say League of Development. So he's moving on up to the ranks of college hockey.
Yeah, it was cool. It's also a great time for it to happen because Chicago's got the Caps for the next 5 games. So pumped to see Chicago after one of their better defensemen heads off to the next level. So that's the selfish reason there, but it's still cool, right? You get to see over the past couple of weeks, there's been a couple, right, where I'm sure we'll talk about some of them later on. Kaysen Muscut, I don't know if we talked about him last week going to Michigan from Sioux City.
I'm not sure.
That was another one where uncommitted to go to Michigan in the middle of the year. Yeah, I think you'll take that. You sure burn a year eligibility on a half year, but you're getting to go to Michigan as an uncommitted skater. Like, you're going to take that 10 times out of 10. And I don't think they're going to bring Callback up to use a year eligibility or a whole year eligibility on a half year because he's not going to play, right? That's the one good part about college hockey in the junior sphere compared to other sports is you don't see too many players redshirting ever because of them being like, well, if you're just going to redshirt, let's keep you in juniors for another year then, at least while you can. So awesome for Callbeck. And yeah, I'm glad if any other colleges want to take their players in now that are on the Steel, we have them 4 games in a row starting Saturday. Would love to, in Sid's words, love to see it. If all of a sudden the Chicago Steel are fielding the Springfield Junior Blues roster on Saturday night.
Nice. Yeah, I forgot about the Kaysen Muscat one, and that's another one shout out because he's from Louisiana, I believe. So I always love to see guys from the hockey states that might not be your typical Minnesota, Michigan, Massachusetts, etc. So that's pretty cool. A couple trades notable. I can't remember if we mentioned the Rylan Rooney one on the show last week or not. I don't think we did. So
Drew
Rylan
texted
Rooney
me about it.
Drew got the scoop early when it dropped.
Got the scoop.
Ryland Rooney was traded from Des Moines to Chicago, so he's on the move. And then there was another couple trades with Minnesotans as well. Barrett Dexheimer and Nick Coring traded to Des Moines for Gus Thorpe, who headed the other way to Muskegon. So a couple interesting trades here through the winter break, early in the new year here. Teams kind of shaking things up. A couple Minnesotans on the move, so that's always kind of fun, kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was cool to see. Like, obviously, you want your junior career to be with one team. When you sign up for it, you want everything to be the perfect situation. Chicago moving into a new building next year. Wouldn't be shocked to see them try to have the best roster possible going into next season. Investing in a 16-year-old is probably a good way to kind of go about that. In Ryland Rooney, they send out like the transaction report in the league, and I hadn't seen it go anywhere yet on social, so I was like, well, we'll send it over to these two. But I wouldn't be shocked. You have to look back to him signing that tender. Who was the coaches there, or who were the coaches there? Who was the GM there at the time? They're no longer with Des Moines right now, right? So whether it's, hey, this isn't my guy in Ryland Rooney's case, say the GM's like, yeah, Ryland Rooney's not my guy. Like, I don't have that allegiance to him. Or it could be the other way, right? Ryland Rooney could be like, hey, like, I didn't commit to play with these guys. Like, let me get to somewhere where I want to be. It's kind of cool to see both sides of it. You very easily could happen right now. If I had to guess, I'm going to take a wild guess that a GM in Des Moines is probably wanting to keep Ryland Rooney if possible. So I'm not going to say, yes, it was Ryland Rooney, but if I had to guess, it was probably a player asking out of Des Moines. Des Moines not that high up in the standings. Chicago moving into a new rink under Blackhawks management in a market where you're going to get more scouts at the arena than anywhere else. That would be my guess there, but that was a cool one. And then the two defensemen going out for one to get Gus Thorpe. I think a big piece of that was probably to clear room for Carter Amico, right? Or Carter Amico. You're bringing in a new defenseman if you're Muskegon. You might as well get a mean guy in Gus Thorpe. He lays it on thick. He's a Wisconsin kid, if I'm not mistaken there. But he plays a tough game, and so he moves the other way. A good opportunity for both of those players going to Des Moines to kind of shine a little bit. The West on that bottom half is wide open. Why not be a Western Conference team right now? And you're getting stuff on both sides. You're getting Henry Major over in the deal for Ryland Rooney and picks, as well as those two defensemen. So yeah, I think it sets Des Moines up for success down the stretch of the year. It's crazy as it is that I think in 5 years you're going to look back at these deals and the best player probably left Des Moines. But I mean, it could end up working out well for the Buccaneers here.
Yeah,
Who would be the best player in that scenario, Drew?
I think in 5 years you probably look back and say Ryland Rooney's the best player, and that was traded one way or the other.
I think you can make that assumption based on a few things, not only his talent, but also the fact that he's got the longest runway still of any of these
100%.
guys. So we don't really know what Ryland Rooney is going to be quite yet, whereas Barrett Dexheimer and Nick Coring are pretty known commodities.
Yeah,
100%. And I think with the West being as open as it is this year, them adding an 07 in the major, I don't quite know the ages of Dexheimer and Coring, but I
think Dex is an 06.
So, but there's some junior eligibility left there then. With them adding pieces like that, it could set them up for a run this year where Major could technically be an upgrade from Rooney right now. But you look in 2 years, Ryland Rooney could be the best player in the league if he's still playing junior hockey at that point. Even like Ryland Rooney is the type of talent that could end up playing college hockey after next season. I would imagine Chicago wouldn't make this deal if they thought he was going in this year, but things change. Like all it takes is Wisconsin having one player go out extra in the portal that they weren't expecting, and all of a sudden Ryland Rooney's a Wisconsin Badger next year.
True. I got one last thing on USHL news here. Carter Sanderson. I was watching Muskegon in Pittsburgh, and I kept thinking, who the hell is 15? Because 15 is really freaking good, and he's nasty. And it was Carter Sanderson, and he turned out to be probably my favorite individual player that I watched the entire time I was out there. He is I would not want to meet him in a dark alley, and I wouldn't want to meet him on the ice either. He's a stud.
And he basically, so Tynan Lawrence was their captain. He was basically serving as their captain for the first half of the year because Tynan Lawrence played 13 games.
Yeah.
He didn't play a ton. So when they were in Madison, anytime the officials have their little scrum in their crease and then they talk to the captains, Carter Sanderson was the guy there. So it felt like a natural fit with that one too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a great player. He's the captain now. He's got almost a point per game for Muskegon. North Dakota commit, so I'm sure plenty of our listeners are already pretty familiar with him. That wasn't super surprising either, considering family ties and stuff, but he's a Pittsburgh Penguins draftee as well. So
Nodak's loaded. Like I know that shouldn't come as a shock, but like every team that the Caps play, at least, I feel like their best player, and I know we're about to get to one of them here shortly, every team's best player seems to always be committed to North Dakota right now in the USHL. And like, I hate that personally as like a St. Cloud fan. Like, I know like North Dakota probably doesn't see St. Cloud as their biggest rival by any means, but like that doesn't make me hate them any less. But but it's every team. It's Sanderson. It's the guy that we're about to talk about. Then the guy after that we're about to talk about. Nodak commit. Like, what are we doing letting all these kids go to North Dakota to play hockey? Let's get them elsewhere. Dane Jackson, share the wealth a little bit.
Yeah, because speaking of North Dakota commits, I had Cooper Simpson up next. He's actually second in overall scoring in the USHL right now with 46 points in 34 games. So we already knew he was good, but he's still very good. So he has not really cooled off very much. And I just wanted to shout out too, just looking kind of at the top scorers throughout the USHL, I wanted to shout out Luke Gary, who's kind of quietly just having a really good season points wise. I feel like I don't really see too many people like posting about him. So I just wanted to say shout out because I feel like he's quietly producing really well. And I saw too recently Gavin Gary, his twin, has been back. He was injured for a chunk of the start of the season. So he's back now. So that's pretty big for Sioux City, and Luke's got over a point per game. He's got 37 points in 35 games. So kind of just quietly doing really good, which is cool. And they were St. Thomas commits, but now they don't have that logo next to their name. So I'm really curious to see where they end up and if they're going to be a package deal as well in the future. So thought I'd add that in there. And speaking of North Dakota commits again, and Madison Capital players, Drew, Caleb Heil is the USHL goalie of the week. So thought I would quickly mention that. So that's good. Doing well. And I didn't have too many notes either on the USHL. The Frosty Cup is coming up here pretty soon. That's going to be Des Moines playing Fargo in Frisco, Texas. Not usually the first place you think of when it's called the Frosty Cup, but always cool to see games there. And then the Chipotle All-American game is also coming up as well. And I thought I would just read, there was a roster update for kind of guys that are playing and guys that aren't playing. So the guys that are out, no longer playing in the game, include Rudolph Spurs-Counts, Nick Bogus, Brady Noling, Tynan Lawrence, and Sam Wattier. And then the guys added in are Miles Brosnan, Justin Graff, Will Tomko, Tobias Treywall, and Minnesotan Danny Clares. So a couple substitutions for that coming up here, but I didn't have too many notes on those games. I don't follow them super closely, but that'll be fun to see some Minnesotan prospects showcased here over the next week or two. And before we get into our Central Scouting midterm report, want to thank the USHL for sponsoring the show as well. Obviously, we already talked a bunch about the USHL. They provide great development to their players, and we've already talked about so many guys who've been called up to the NCAA early because they're doing well, and these teams want them to get called up. So we know that the USHL provides elite development for its players. And we love seeing guys succeeding in the USHL. So big thanks to them for sponsoring the show. And obviously we talk a lot about USHL news and are going to continue to do that here throughout the rest of the season. And we're going to talk about a couple of USHL guys here as we get into the NHL Central Scouting midterm report. I totally forgot it came out this week. But I saw a lot of people looking this over that were kind of confused because there's some players in expected places. There's a couple guys that I thought were way higher than I would have predicted, and a couple guys that, there's always some snubs as well. So I don't know if you guys had any players that you were wowed by or surprised by their position on the list. And we actually had 3 Minnesotan goalies as well. I feel like sometimes we don't really have any, so that's kind of interesting. But quite a few Minnesotans, and that's always kind of cool. And there was a few shakeups as well from the first list, the preliminary list, to now. There always is, but some guys that drop off, some guys that get added. So I don't know, Peter, for you, did you have any guys that you were either surprised to see or high or low, or any, thoughts that come to mind?
I also didn't know this was coming out. And then I got a text from Tony that said, hey, midterm NHL Central Scouting came out today. I thought, oh, shit. Because it's one of those things where, I don't know, maybe I'm jaded toward it, but I'll look at the list and it doesn't really do much for me just because we're still so far from the draft. This isn't even the last list that NHL Central Scouting is going to put into the internet. So I think it's nice for the kids. I mean, they get to see their name with NHL Central Scouting, but I've been burned before. Like, I've interviewed kids because I think they're going to get drafted because they're on the NHL Central Scouting list, and I write this profile, and then, oh shit, they don't get drafted, and I look like a total jabroni. But I hammered something out on the 22 Minnesotans that were on the list. Wyatt Cullen is the highest rated at 23. I don't know if I would call that a surprise. I think he's still knocked for his stature because he's not the biggest guy. He's not the tallest guy, but he just does certain things with the puck that you can't teach. So it's nice to see his size not counting against him as much as I thought it would. If you want to parse numbers, I thought Mikey Burchild and Victor Plant might be a little bit closer. That's not a knock on either player. I just thought they'd be closer. I was a little surprised at Joe Erickson from Blake. I think that was one we were talking about before we started recording. He's at number 86, and he's the second highest rated high school draft eligible player in the state, right after Jaden Kurtz at Rogers. And for Joe, I mean, the numbers match up. The experience at the USA Hockey national level matches up. Blake is not Rogers. It's not a AA program. It hasn't been to state in I don't know how long. The other high schools on this list make sense. Holy Angels makes sense with Henry Lechner kind of breaking the glass ceiling there. Minnetonka High School, that's an easy one. Nick Nelson at Monticello, not surprised at all. His dad was a stud at UConn for 4 years, and Nick Nelson has played USA Hockey Select, whatever. So that one's not as surprising. Luke Puchner is 223, and this is just personal preference. I love Luke Puchner. I think Luke Puchner's a fantastic player. I think he's got speed. I think he plays real hard. I think he's a witty, personable kid, which makes him a nice glue guy in the locker room. He's committed to Minnesota Duluth, so I don't know. If I had to quibble with one ranking, I would like to see Luke Puchner higher, but this is all subjective, right? And NHL teams, they'll read NHL Central Scouting's list, but every NHL team has its own list and its own wants and its own needs. So if I mentioned this in my story, if you don't see a player on there that you want to see, and if somebody's on there that's not high enough, please don't panic on the internet. Just there's 164 days left.
Yeah, this seems like kind of an interesting year. Just normally I feel like when I watch guys, I go, okay, yeah, I see why they're ranked there. And maybe there's one or two or just a handful that are a little surprising. And this year feels just different for whatever reason. There's just a couple of guys that I'm like, wow, like obviously no shade to anyone in specific, but there's a couple of guys I'm like, wow, I didn't think they either would be as high as they are or on there, because I don't want to call anybody out. But just this year definitely feels a little bit different. I don't know why specifically, or maybe just because with high school rankings, just there were some guys I thought maybe would be on there that aren't, or some other guys that are just, I don't know, the positioning is kind of crazy this year, but nothing like super crazy. I don't know. Drew, is there anybody?
Sorry, I think what plays a role is how often you see these guys in person. Because there are some players on here that I haven't seen in person for 3 or 4 years, and I'm thinking, wait, what? Like, okay, I'll throw a name out there. And again, it's not a knock on him. I haven't seen Nate Selski play meaningful minutes for like 3 years. So he's on the list. I mean, that's awesome. Good for him. I don't remember seeing anything 3 years ago that would have led me to that decision, but he's big, he's mobile, and he's getting a great education in Muskegon. So Mazel Tov.
Yeah. I think a big piece, yes, how they are as a player right now matters. Yes, I agree with that. But like at the end of the day, it's not a ranking of who's the best player at their age right now. It's who projects in 5 years to be the best NHL player, right? Like you almost have to think of it in that way. So like just because a player is not the greatest, but he's tall and a defenseman on a right shot, for example, like going into the USHL draft 2 years ago, Austin Moline was a player who played at Shattuck St. Mary's, a Vegas kid. Going into the USHL draft, it wasn't like he was like this highly touted prospect. Main camp, it was like, oh yeah, he's going to make the team. I don't know what type of player he's going to be when he gets here, though. He gets here after being selected in the NHL draft because he's 6'5" and a right shot D. And it's like, oh, okay, I can kind of see what they're working with now after seeing him for a year. So I do think a lot of people look at this NHL Central scouting and see, oh, well, this kid's 20 times better. Well, this kid also might be 5'6", and Ryan Reeves is coming down the track on the other side. And would you rather have your guy be 6'2" or 5'6"? And in 5 years, where do you think they are? Right? It is cool to see players high, low on the list. I think we said it when the preliminary rankings came out in the fall, though. What do like at the end of the day? I don't think Steve Yzerman's helping putting together this list. I don't think Bill Guerin's putting this list together. And at the end of the day, they're the ones that are making the decision. And do you think, genuine question, if you had a choice between the exact same skill of a player and you're Bill Guerin, and it's a 5'6" player or even a 5'10" player, you're taking the 5'10" player because you're praying to God that the 5'6" guy doesn't get hurt anytime he goes into the corner. You can't teach some of the stuff, and I think at the NHL level, a lot of it's different. I know we talked about Sid and her fascination with short guys in the college level last week. The college level is completely different than the pro level. Like the speed's different. When they turn it on, it's different. Like there's a reason that some people are making millions and millions of dollars. And there's another reason why 17 people are watching them at the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center. There's two ends of the spectrum. So I'm very interested to see how much of this changes, right? I think I look at Riker Lee last year just because that's a name I'm familiar with. I knew where he was at throughout the whole process. He was never projected by NHL Central Scouting to be a first-round pick. He was the USHL Rookie of the Year and was a first-round pick. So, like, this very much changes daily, I would guess, in NHL scouts' eyes. Like, for example, we'll just put out the very last person on the list that made the list. How do you say it? Is it Puck Puchner? I'm not familiar with that name. Puchner. Puchner would be tough. That would be brutal last name. Puchner. Let's say Puchner puts up 75 points in his next 15 games. I'm taking a guess that Puchner is probably going a little bit higher than 224 or wherever. He's 223. I just try to remember a number. That was pretty close for me clicking on it for 2 seconds. He's going to go a little bit higher than 223 overall. So, like, yes, it's something cool that we can post. It's something cool for us to talk about. Like, cool for another Cullen to be listed high. Like, I feel like that's going to happen a lot over the next couple of years. We're going to be living in the world of Joey Cullen for the next 2 years after this draft. So might as well live in the world of Wyatt Cullen for this year. I actually saw some cool stuff on Wyatt too, but we can get to that at a different time with him potentially going to junior after this just because of his age. But again, that's a topic for a different day on that side. The NHL Central scouting, though, cool to talk about. Doesn't mean a whole lot, though.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And like you said, Drew, I
no,
even
it doesn't.
Go ahead.
I would also reiterate that there's a list for North American skaters and a list for European skaters. So even if you're number 2 whatever on the North American list, there's like another 200 guys that are also being considered for a very small, comparatively a small number of spots in the draft. So once you get down to the lower third of that list, it's kind of splitting hairs, but good points made all around, especially by me.
Yeah, I feel like once you get about 150 on that list, anything below that, if you have a bad second half or you have a really good second half, that might not even matter. So,
I feel like a lot of that list too is sorry, I know we don't probably need to talk about NHL Central Scouting and the qualms with it for the longest time. But a lot of this list is also like every single NTDP player that's on this list. I would take a wild guess that half of them don't go anywhere near, but they see NTDP and they're like, oh, Austin Matthews went to the NTDP. Oh, Patrick Kane. Like they just think of like the best of the best. Like Austin Bernovic was ranked, I think, 89th on that list in his draft year, didn't get selected. So like even if you're in the top 100, it doesn't mean jack at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. It's just interesting to speculate, but we really have no idea. Same with goalies. I feel like the goalie list, some guys might go really high. Some of them are not even going to get drafted at all, and they'll be on the draft, possible NHL Central Scouting list for all of their years of eligibility, and they might never get picked. You never know. It's such a crapshoot. But shout out to Carter Casey and Xavier Went. We're both listed as 12 and 15, kind of high on there. And then another goalie as well, Luke Carithers. I feel like usually we don't have a ton of Minnesotans, so kind of cool to see Minnesota represented on the goalie list as well. But Drew, you kind of mentioned it a little bit. I wanted to talk about it because I've seen some speculation about it from Gophers fans online. I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts of it, but a lot of people are wondering, with Wyatt Cullen and Brooks Cullen, of like, are they both going to go to college next year? Or, does Brooks need another year of juniors? Does Wyatt need a year after the NTDP because he's so young? Like, if you're Gophers fans, that's kind of a tough decision, honestly, because at the same time, you don't want to tell somebody to go back to juniors if they want to come to college. So I know a lot of people are like, what's going to happen with them in the future? Because that might be a thing that needs to be talked about here over the next few months or as we get closer to the draft too.
Peter, I guess you're probably more up to date on the Cullens being back in Minnesota. Interesting. I have points, but I want Peter's points first.
Let me call Matt real quick just to get the latest update on the saga of the Cullen children. No, I think they're in. I think some people look at where they've been and where they are as. Oh, of course they are where they are. They're the Cullen family, but they're in an enviable position for any family. They have a chance to get all three of them on the same team post friggin' peewees. I mean, how many families would love to be able to do that for at least a year? So I think the eventual plan is to get all three of them with the University of Minnesota at some point. Now that can obviously change based on who's coaching the University of Minnesota, who's coaching the teams that Joey and Wyatt are on, wherever their development path is. Injuries can hold you back from joining the team. And it also depends on the University of Minnesota too. The University of Minnesota might say, hey, we're ready for so-and-so and so-and-so, but we're not quite ready for this player. So there are a lot of variables, but I do think the ideal situation for not only for the family, and this is pure speculation on my part, is for all of them to play at the University of Minnesota for at least 1 year together. And as I'd like to think of myself as an objective outsider, how cool would that be for all three of them to wear the maroon and gold together? I mean, that would be pretty cool. So I'm assuming that's what the goal is, at least in a perfect scenario, but we'll see if it comes to fruition. There's still a lot of variables.
I haven't seen Brooks play this year. I think I've seen Wyatt on TV this year, but realistically looking at them, just looking at strictly stats, I don't know if Brooks just by stats is ready to go in. 8 points in 34 games. I've heard a lot about Wyatt's game and obviously ranked towards the top of NHL Central Scouting, and everything I've said is NHL Central Scouting knows exactly what they're talking about. But I would guess with Joey coming down the pipeline, and am I wrong that Joey Cullen's arguably, if not the projected number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft in 4 years, by the way they talk about it?
I don't know if he's the projected number 1 overall because there are a couple of Canadians, like Maddox Schultz is also in that conversation for the what is that, the 2039 draft or something?
Yeah. I just wonder.
He's considered the best overall American prospect, I think, depending on who you ask.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, is he going to play 1 year of junior and then go in? That's kind of where my head's at right now with it. I could very easily see a world. I think we lost Peter there for a second, but I think he's back. It looked like he froze up on us. But so my biggest thing with the Cullen family right now is if Brooks and Wyatt say we want to go in next year, Joey's still not committed because he can't commit yet, correct? Does that all of a sudden flip a switch in the Cullen family and be like, what are you talking about? Like, I see what you did to my brothers. I don't want to have to do that too. Like, is it almost hey, this is a tiebreaker. We want to make sure we're bending over backwards for the Cullen family because we know it's coming down the pipeline. Not against Luke, I had Luke Puchner's prospects up, so I looked up and saw the name Luke, but not against Brooks and Wyatt by any means. But is it a clear tiebreaker where it's like, hey, if it's between these two, I want to bring Brooks in now, just not to piss off the Cullen family as a recruiting tactic to bring in Joey.
You're talking like a calf-cow deal.
Exactly. Like
you're taking a calf-cow deal. Okay.
And you see it in junior hockey a lot, right? Where, hey, I have the older brother, like Jason Musa and Jack Musa played for Cedar Rapids. You take care of one of the brothers. Hey, we're going to make sure the other brother kind of gets there. So I kind of wonder if it's, hey, maybe Brooks wouldn't go into junior for a lot of teams this year, or maybe Wyatt wouldn't go in because he's going to be a senior in high school for a lot of teams this year. But because Joey's coming down the pipeline and Wyatt Cullen's telling me I want to go in regardless of what you have, we're going to make sure Wyatt Cullen has a spot next season. So that way when August 1 rolls around, we get an Instagram post from Joey Cullen 101 or whatever his Instagram handle is, that I'm proud to commit to the University of Minnesota. Because that switch can flip real quick. Because if they say, hey, we want Brooks and Wyatt to take another year of junior. What if Brooks is like, I don't want to play in Fargo next year? What if Brooks is like, you know what, I see myself as a college player this year, opens up the recruiting, and you saw it with the brothers this year. They both opened up the recruiting at the same time. They both committed, day apart from each other. All of a sudden, that's got the U going crazy. Like, they're going to be like, what's going on? The fan base isn't going to like that too much. So even if it's, hey, we're going to play Brooks as a 13th forward role all season long, same with Wyatt, they're going to be in and out of the lineup. I just could very easily see a world where it's not really up to the Gophers on if they want to bring these two kids in. It's up to the Cullen family on, hey, yeah, we think they're ready. Send them in because we don't want to piss off Joey.
But I could also see a scenario where, I don't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who drafted Brooks, but I don't know if they drafted Brooks and they thought he's got to get in. Undrafted. Did he go undrafted?
Yeah. No draft.
He went undrafted? Okay. So he could very well play 5 years at the University of Minnesota, which gives them plenty of time to get Wyatt and Joey into the lineup. And I don't know, is it that bad to be? And Brooks has always been kind of a slow starter, right? Like he was okay as a sophomore, got a little bit better as a junior, had a fantastic senior season at Moorhead. So who's to say he doesn't get in his first year of eligibility with the Gophers? 13th forward, in and out of the lineup. Second year, he works his butt off, plays PK, third line, fourth line. Third year, he's a top 9 guy for sure. Fourth year, he's a top 6 guy. What I'm saying is there's no guarantee that Brooks has to be rushed out of the University of Minnesota. So if he can last in Dinkytown long enough to get Wyatt and Joey up there, which he absolutely can if he's not being pressured by an NHL team to leave and go to Bakersfield or Ontario, California, then there's absolutely a world where all three of them could play and nobody's apple cart is upset and everybody's still on track to go to the NHL.
100%. I just think Like, again, I'll see Brooks in February. Just looking at stats, which I think a lot of these colleges do, they look at the stats. They see 8 points in 34 games. The 8 points in 34 games to me looks like he should play another year in the USHL. Develop that extra year.
But if he plays another year in the USHL, that's just one more year of insurance that he's got waiting for Wyatt and Joey to catch up. So if he plays another year in the USHL, it doesn't matter.
Here's a hot take for you. Do all three of them play together next year in the USHL?
Wow.
They could do that. They could play on the same team together for 3 straight years. Joey could advance his education, go in his senior year, go in to play college hockey. Wyatt at that point will be a freshman in college by age range, correct? Because he's a junior right now. Joey's a sophomore. Brooks would have that extra year of junior. So what I'm saying is there a world where Joey Cullen signs a tender with Fargo, Wyatt Cullen gets selected by Fargo in the Phase 2 draft, and Brooks Cullen stays for a second year of junior hockey? That solves the issue right there. And even better, Matt Cullen owns part of the team that they're going to be playing for. Right in their backyard. They can live at home, no billets. Dude. Saves on the budget for the Fargo Force, too. You
just said it. You just tossed out one of the key reasons that they would do that is because the family could be together for the first time in however many years. And I know that would be a big deal for any family. So that's 100%. That's 100% possible. I think it depends on my own
problems that I came up with.
I think you solved it.
What did you say, Sid?
I think Drew solved it.
Whoa.
That sounds like a pretty good.
Drew, send Matt Cullen an email real quick. Just lay it out for him. Just lay it out.
I hate to tell you, I would guess that if that plan's in motion, that plan's already in motion.
Oh yeah,
probably. And these kids are not walking out of a cave into an unknown land here.
The other question with that is, what happens to the NTDP if multiple people tell them no this year?
Yeah,
right. Like last year, we had kids leave.
It's a distinct possibility.
We had kids leave this past year to go play junior elsewhere. This would be a chance for kids to not even go into the program, but to go and play elsewhere. Like, what happens then? Because they say best of the best, best of the best. And there's still very much a world. Wyatt went to the NTDP. You look at the Plant brothers, not all of them went to the NTDP. But is there a world where Joey Cullen doesn't go into the program and other players decide, oh, the NTDP is not my best route? Well, we've always been told NTDP is the best of the best. What's the NTDP doing if they can't recruit the best of the best?
Or if they can't retain the best of the best? JP Hurlburt leaving the program and going to the Dub and ripping it up is the worst case scenario for the National Development Program. We could spend an entire episode discussing the machinations behind the scenes. And I think parents are in general naive, but enough guys are starting to have kids now that are still super involved in their players' lives where they understand the lay of the land. They're products of what I would consider the modern-ish era of hockey development. So their fathers were products of the original six, where you worked at the paper mill and then you were decent at hockey, but you made more money at the paper mill, so you quit playing hockey. These guys are children of the modern-ish development era, and they're very involved in their kids' development path, and they're not afraid to say, hey, I'm not sure that's the best route for my kid, or I'm not sure that coaching turnover is the best environment for my kid. I don't know if I want them living in Michigan. It's a better situation for us in Kelowna or Cranbrook or Penticton or wherever.
Or Fargo-Moorhead.
So, I mean, we'll see. We could spend an entire episode discussing the National Development Program and where it goes from here.
Maybe that's an off-season topic. We could just tackle off topics in the off-season. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I had a tiny little tidbit, which you guys already covered it, so we don't need to get more into it. But I just saw, kind of unrelated to the USHL, a lot of guys in the NTDP's rights are getting traded right now in the CHL. And a lot of people are like, does this mean they're leaving right away? And no, but I could see a lot of those teams wanting the rights because if they ever do want to leave the NTDP or they end up playing after the NTDP, they want to have kind of first dibs on a lot of those players. And I've been seeing that more and more lately of, oh, that guy's rights got traded. Oh, this guy's rights got traded. That's interesting. And I haven't seen any leave yet. So I don't know if it's just all these teams are hopeful for it, but we'll kind of see because this is a new era this year of all the major junior guys being eligible for college. So we're kind of just in uncharted territory right now, and I have no idea. So we'll see. But I had a tiny little tidbit on that, but you guys already kind of covered it. So that worked perfectly, actually. So now that we're kind of off that whole little tangent there, just a few more things before we wrap up the show today.
God, we're the best.
A couple, flips, decommitments, all that kind of stuff. Shout out to Minnesotan Noah Manasau. He's
Love him.
Bemidji. He's playing for Sioux Falls, and he committed to Augustana. Love to see it, especially because he's a guy that I don't feel like got a ton of spotlight in high school. Yeah. So I think it's awesome that he has made it the USHL roster. He's doing good, and now he's got that D1 commitment under his belt. So that's super cool, especially for a guy from Bemidji. So that's awesome. I was super excited to see that for him. And he's doing pretty good, too, for the Stampede. And makes sense with Augustana if he's playing in Sioux Falls, that I'm sure they've seen him plenty play this year. So that made a lot of sense to me.
God, he plays hard.
Yeah.
He just plays hard.
And that's definitely hard. Just the guy Augustana would recruit too, because they got a lot of those just athletic guys that just play hard. So that made a lot of sense to me when I saw that. A goalie that committed I think it was today or yesterday. I don't know how to say this, Drew. Is it Michal Pradol? How do you say this guy's name? Do you know?
Honestly, Peter might have a better chance of him being at World Juniors than I.
World Juniors? I don't even know.
We don't have them till early February. We go a 3-week stretch against the West, where I'll see the Collins, the Tri-City, and all of that. So yeah, I'll let Peter take the reins here. Peter was telling us before the show that he was a theater guy, so he had to pronounce some stuff out loud before. So let's hear it, Peter.
So I think that it's Michael. I just think that's the different. I think that's just the Eastern European spelling of Michael. I think it's Michael Pradell.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
I would just call him Dell. That'd be sick.
Committed to Colorado College, so CC picks up a goalie commit from him. He's the goalie for Tri-City. He's a Red Wings draft pick. He played in World Juniors, got a .918 save percentage right now in his second season in the USHL. Another commitment I just saw recently, Daniel D'Alessandro, who I think has been playing with Sioux City lately, committed to Holy Cross. He was a Princeton commit, I think, at first, so that was a flip. And then according to, I believe it was Ryan Sykes on Twitter who had this first, Owen Tylek, who plays for Des Moines, and Cam McCoyne, who has played in the USHL, but he's in the OHL now, have decommitted from Notre Dame. So some decommits there. A couple other notes that I just had. Ben Miller, formerly of Hill Murray, committed to Northeastern. First WHL goal for Portland last week, so shout out to him. He's one of our APX guys as well, so love to see that. And then this isn't surprising, but Quaz, as everybody calls him, Jacob Kwasnica, is WHL Rookie of the Week again. It's been a lot of times this year because he's leading Penticton in scoring right now with 53 points in 38 games, so he's just tearing it up still. So a couple guys doing good things up in Canada. And Drew, I don't know, did you find any memes videos? Okay, I know we didn't.
We'll rip through them quick because I talked too much about NHL Central scouting and got rattled about the Collins. But the first one, we'll start with David Humphrey. In light of what's going on around the United States, I want to warn everyone that political posts are not allowed in this group. Hey, shout out David. He wants to keep it strictly hockey in the USHL discussion groups. Deanna and Dylan chiming in there as well.
Things getting crazy in the USHL group, I guess.
To be honest with you, there's nothing I kind of want to see more than the political opinions of USHL superfans. So I'm kind of disappointed by this because I think that would be electric. Maybe they make that a side discussion group because that would be awesome to just it would be just complete nonsense. It'd be your typical people you see on Facebook that you just know, like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not friends with you because you lean a certain way and I want to see your post. I'm friends with you because I drank a lot of beer with you in college. Like, let's cut that stuff out and let's just talk about, hey, how cool is it back in the day when I crushed a 30 rack before or after class that one day? Like, I want to hear more about that than politics. So I agree with David here, but I do kind of wonder if we can create a USHL politics only discussion. You know, the exact opposite of this.
I would rather read that, honestly.
Oh God.
Yeah. And like, to be honest with you, their hockey takes aren't great. Maybe their political takes are great. Like, maybe we find a different route for David, Dylan, and Deanna here. But they're keeping it strictly business in the USHL groups, which I appreciate. We also want to give a shout out to James Turner, top contributor.
Wow.
Hey, Chicago Steel, what happened? You bums? I believe that the you bums guy was. You guys see that guy on TikTok or on social media where he likes a Giants fan and he like goes to
baseball
the
games, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was at a Sioux City game this weekend. So I wonder if that was the reference there. But what happened? They lost by 1 point and got 3 points out of the weekend because they lost in overtime one night and won in overtime the other. Like, it's not like a crazy thing. So when I originally did it, I was going to chirp James Turner for saying "you bums," but I think James Turner might be referencing that the "you bums" guy was actually at the game. So maybe it was actually a good Facebook comment. It's not like the other one.
Gotcha.
And then we do have one video. I'm going to take a wild guess that none of the three of us, or I've been, sorry, the two of you probably have not been to Outpost Ice Arenas in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Not lately.
I would take a guess.
I think so.
We're gonna mute. The away team tunnel, the way they have their ice set up is kind of sweet. They have two sheets of ice that are connected, and the two connections are on each end of the ice surface. And there's like garage doors that open up on the boards, so that way they can make like a lap, like it's almost like a hockey track. I really like it. But these fans are getting in the Odessa Jackalopes face here as they're coming off after a tough loss. Really, I just wanted to bring up that arena was the coldest in the Null South Division. But you kind of see it here at the beginning. Let's pull it all the way back. You can kind of see that there's like these people skating on the side here. It's those two lanes turn into curling on that side. I just wanted to talk about architecture for a little bit, if I'm being honest. Like, it was a great design of the building. We have two sheets. I think it's one of the rowdiest Null teams because they only sit 700 people in their building. And you're already dealing with the elevation. You're dealing with the rowdy bunch. And clearly this rowdy bunch wanted to get after the Odessa Jackalopes after a tough day. Tough trek back to Odessa, although probably one of the shorter ones back from Albuquerque. Albuquerque's out there on an island. So, just wanted to shout out Outpost Ice Arenas and the Odessa Jackalopes there at the end of the pod.
Imagine getting chirped by the open skate crowd.
Open skate crowd that's probably rattled that game took so long that they haven't opened the garage boards and gotten the thing going.
People that are just like, please God, open the garage doors. It's time for me to go open skating on this date. Come on.
Did you hear? I refer to them as garage boards because it's not even garage doors. They have their boards go straight up and down and become boards, but they just go straight up and down. So it's kind of sick when they enter. Like, because, most teams, like, you have to run a little bit on the mat, and it kind of looks awkward always when, depending on the length. The New Mexico Ice Wolves can just rip out onto the ice because they're skating out onto the ice, which I always thought was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, awesome. I think we ran through all of our content. We've hit the 1 hour recording mark. I'm yawning and it's 7:30 p.m. So, I'm probably going to go chill. Peter's dabbing over there.
I'm dabbing. I just got a call from, what is this? This is Lombard, Illinois, and it doesn't say potential spam on it. So there might be some person in Lombard, Illinois that really wants to talk to me.
It's probably a scoop.
Okay. Well, sweet.
I don't think it's a scoop. I'm pretty sure
Well,
it's a spam call.
If it's a scoop, we'll have to go back live so we can get it on the pod. But
Wow.
If it's a scoop, I'll call you guys right away.
yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, sweet. Thanks so much to everybody for listening to another crazy, chaotic episode of the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. Thanks to our sponsors, the USHL and APX, for sponsoring the show today. And for myself, for Peter, and for Drew, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.